Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and this is day 8 of the 80 Days to Your Dream Body course. Today's protein source is going to be beef short ribs, and today's training session is going to be a legs and abs routine. And right now, I'm going to be taking you through the full stretching routine that you're going to do after you finish training legs and abs. Now let's get started. And this brings us to the stretching routine. For the stretching routine, I've got 3 stretches for you guys. We're going to be doing one for the psoas major, one for the rectus femoris, and one for the hamstrings group, specifically the semitendinosus. For the psoas major stretch, I'm going to be doing a PNF stretch, and I'm going to be using a strength band. If you don't have a strength band, you could either use a yoga strap, or you could find something to fasten your foot on to do the resistance against. But for myself, I love using the strength band. And what you would want to do if you do have one of these, or if you have a yoga strap, is you want to place it on the surface of your foot. You want to loop it underneath your heel. That way it locks everything in place. And then you're going to go ahead and turn around. From this position right over here, what you would do is get into a lunge position. And you want to get nice and deep until you start to feel a good stretch right in the front of the hip. So we're just going to go. And right about there, I'm feeling a pretty good stretch. So from this position right over here, what I would do is I would want to activate the hip flexors by driving the knee forward. And I'm going to hold that for 6 seconds. Once 6 seconds has passed, I'm going to relax, take a step forward, and I want to get deeper into the stretch. Now from this position right over here, we're going to hold it for 10 seconds. Once 10 seconds has passed, I'm going to again engage the muscle for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, going to relax, take a step forward, and get deeper into the stretch. And we're going to hold this for 10 seconds. Once 10 seconds has passed, we're going to do one final pass. So we are going to engage the hip flexor by driving the knee forward. After 6 seconds, we're going to relax, take another step forward, really try and drive that hip down to the ground as much as possible. And on this final pass, we are going to hold it here for 20 seconds. With the PNF stretching, it's always contract for 6, hold for 10, contract for 6, hold for 10, contract for 6, hold for 20. And we've got about 5 seconds left. And we can relax now. Now we're just going to go ahead and we are going to switch legs. If you guys have any questions with regard to the PNF stretching, go ahead and ask them and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. But we want to do the same thing. We are going to just lock it in place by twisting it, rotating over, and then from this position, what I'm going to do is get into a lunge position, and you want to just drive the hip into extension. Once you get a nice stretch, you're going to drive the knee forward, hold that for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, you're going to relax, take a step forward, and get deeper into it. Really try and get into as much hip extension as possible. That way we could get maximum stretch on the hip flexors. And again, we're going to engage the psoas by driving the knee forward. Hold that for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, relax. Take another step forward. And get deeper into it. Really focus on driving that hip down toward the floor. Going to hold that for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, we've got one more. So we're just going to go ahead. Going to engage the muscle. Hold that for 6 seconds. And relax. Take one more step forward. Get nice and tall. Really try and push that hip down to the ground. And on this last one, we are going to hold it for 20 seconds. We've got about 10 seconds left. And relax. And that was the PNF stretching exercise for the psoas major. Next, we are going to be doing a stretching exercise for the rectus femoris. For the rectus femoris, this is also going to be a myofascial, or this is also going to be a PNF stretching exercise. For it, we are going to be in a kneeling position. For this one right over here, the rectus femoris, it crosses the quadricep, it crosses the knee, and it crosses the hip. So it's responsible for both a knee extension and hip flexion. First, we're going to isolate the knees, and we're going to go into flexion of the knees by sitting down onto our calves. Once we've sat down onto our calves, what we would want to do from this position is we would want to start moving backward and just use your hands to get into that position. From this position, what we would want to do is we are going to actively engage the rectus femoris by getting our butt away from our feet. So we're going to move up, hold for 6 seconds, and then come down. And now we're going to try and get a little bit deeper. So now I'm going to try and sit down onto my elbows instead of on my hands. I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds. And same thing. I'm going to push the hips up toward the sky as much as I can. And I'm going to try and sink deeper for 10 seconds. And one final time, I'm going to push my feet into the ground, try and separate my hamstrings from my calves, which is pretty tricky in this position. And then I'm going to exhale, relax. And for 20 seconds, I'm just going to hang out right over here. Got 10 seconds left. And that was 20 seconds. I'm going to come out of it now. Oh, there we go. And that was the PNF stretching exercise for the rectus femoris. The last stretching exercise is going to be for the hamstrings group. Specifically, we're going to be targeting the semitendinosus. And for the semitendinosus, this is going to be a myofascial stretching exercise for the semitendinosus. What we want to do is get into a seated position. And then with the limb that we are working, that limb is going to be straight out. We want to go into maximum extension of the knee, maximum dorsiflexion and inversion of the ankle. And then what we want to do with the non-working leg is we are going to flex the knee to 90 degrees, maximum dorsiflexion and eversion, and then we are going to drive that knee down toward the floor. From here, at the pelvis, we want to go into anteversion. So we're going to roll onto the ischial tuberosities. We want to project our belly button forward without getting into excessive rounding of the spine. And then what we want to do from this position over here is with the nice tall spine, chin tucked in, crown of the head up, eyes looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension with the arms, maximum extension of elbow and wrist, maximum external rotation. And we are going to project our belly forward and we are going to hold that for 30 seconds starting now. So really focus on knee extension and anteversion of the pelvis. So imagine that you are trying to push your knee down into the ground and you're trying to get your heel off the ground. Five seconds. And relax. Just gonna pause that. We're gonna switch sides now. So now the opposite leg is gonna be forward, maximum knee extension, maximum dorsiflexion, inversion, and then slight medial rotation with the opposite leg. We are going to flex the knee to 90 degrees, dorsiflexion, eversion, go into abduction, external rotation by driving the knee down toward the ground. Then for this one right over here, again, we are rolling onto the ischial tuberosity, going into as much anteversion as possible, projecting the belly forward without excessively rounding the spine, maximum extension of elbow and wrist, maximum external rotation, tall spine, chin tucked in, crown of head up, eyes looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension. And we've got 30 seconds starting now. So again, we're really emphasizing the knee extension. So try and push your knee down into the ground as much as you can. And really focus on rolling the ischial tuberosity. So really focus on emphasizing that anteversion of the pelvis. 10 seconds. And relax. Let's just pause that. We're going to switch sides. And 30 seconds starting now. It should feel like you are doing an intense leg extension right now. Your quads should be fully engaged. So you're just pulling everything apart. The heel is driving forward, the butt's moving back. So you want to try and get as much tension on the posterior surface of the thigh. We're going to switch legs. This is the second pass. 30 seconds starting now. We've got 10 seconds left. One more each side, and then we're done. Remember, for the myofascial stretching exercise, it's always 3 sets of 30 seconds. Fifteen seconds. Really engage those quads as much as you can. Push that knee down into the ground. Try and get that heel coming off the ground. Roll onto the pelvis. Here we got one more, and then we are all done for the day. 30 seconds starting now. I'm sweating more doing this than the workout. You should be going all out when you're doing these. 10 seconds. And relax. All right, and that concludes day 8 of the 80 Days to Your Dream Body course. If you guys have any questions with regard to anything that we did today, drop them down, let me know. And if you guys have any comments about the exercises, let me know which exercise was your favorite, which stretch was your favorite. But that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. Be sure to like, share, and leave a comment as it'll help the algorithm. And if you enjoyed the content, show your support by subscribing to the channel by clicking on the icon in the bottom right corner. And if you really want to show your support, then consider becoming a member by clicking on the icon in the bottom left corner. These new high-quality videos aren't cheap to edit, and the $5 membership will really help with the video editing budget. You'll also get access to a ton of exclusive perks like early access to videos and this program design lecture playlist in the top right-hand corner. And if you want to learn how to do a one-armed pull-up, then check out the playlist on the top left corner.